marketing is absolutely wrong. So I hope that that is a little shocking to people. And I hope that when people see this, they want to share it with other people. Of course, target marketing is something really important to people, as you know. People tend to believe that it is the most essential thing that you can focus on. But what I want to do is I want to mention a couple things because you may not actually know this about me, Jim, and that is that I used to work as a small business development center advisor to businesses for Santa Monica College. And I've consulted with a number of different small businesses that are actually really small and some quite big. And the thing that I have found is that people learn about target marketing because they take classes in colleges that teach that target marketing is the thing that people need to do, and then people like yourself who are entrepreneurs or coaches or just people who basically function as a small business entity tend to think that what the big companies do and what is taught in college applies to them. Here's what you're going to need in order to basically determine for yourself what your target market is, and when we finish, what you're going to actually see is not that it's a target market that you need to actually look at. Now, you can call it a target market. That's not a problem. But what you're going to need to start with is your entire list of customers. And I'm not saying you need to have that in front of you, but you can go back through this and do this with your entire list of customers. Or if you're somebody who's watching this video, you should have your entire list of customers before you start. So stop whatever you're doing, get your entire list of customers, a book of clients, invoices, whatever it is that you have. Enough for like a year's worth of clients and hopefully your active clients. And you're going to need several different sheets of paper. I think that 6 is the number of sheets of paper that you're going to need. So this was the kind of thing that I alluded to a little while ago. When you finish with this, you're not actually going to have a target market. You're going to have a profile. You can call it a target market profile, but it is not just that. For someone like yourself, a small business entity, there's something more important that you should think about when you think of your target market, and I'm going to get to that in this process, and you'll totally see it clear as a bell whenever I'm done, okay? So on page 1, here's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to write your 5 favorite clients. So just write, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and write down the names of 5 of your favorite clients. Now, you can, if you can think of 10 of them, go ahead and write them down so that you can get the full value of doing this. The more complete work that you can do with this, the better. Now, don't worry about the why. They're your favorites until you come up with 5.
I'm not.
How many clients do you have right now?
What you're asking in terms of clients? If you're
Okay,
talking about
so
each customers or.
yes, your business that we're focused on is one where you have clients, you have customers, you have people who buy stuff from you. And so those are the people that you want to focus on. Now, I do realize that you have different objectives in terms of focusing on people and providing different services and products, but what I want you to think about is the people who are actually buying from you now.
Okay.
Okay, so
I would
are you
have
able
to
to
kind of
come
get
up
into
with...
my Beachbody office.
Right, right. And for people who are MLMers like yourself, that what you want to do is you want to have that list available to you so that you can do this exercise. And I would ordinarily say let's just stop, and then you can go ahead and get that list and then pull it up, and then you can focus. But you should be able to come up with 5 people who are in your downline, or they are regular customers where they purchase each month.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so you got 5?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so then what you want to do next is you want to go ahead and jot down as many reasons as you can as to why they're your favorite. Like you could look at the first one and you could say what you really like about them as a client. Maybe what you like about them is that you don't have to sell them anything. In other words, you don't have to follow up with them and get them interested in things. So it's like they pursue you for the next thing. So that would be somebody who is like a zero maintenance customer or client. It's like they're ready to buy. You don't have to sell them anything.
Right.
Okay? And maybe another one would be somebody who really is very pleasant to work with. Somebody who, no matter what your interactions are, it's like they're just really great, and they always have good things to say about you. Maybe they even mention you on Facebook that you're doing a really great job supporting them and their goals and the service that you provide. So that would be like somebody who's really pleasant to work with. Another reason why would be somebody who is a cheerleader for you. It's like, you may not necessarily know how they're doing, but they talk you up to the public in such a great way that you feel honored in the way that they talk about you. Like they have a great success story, and they tell everybody that you are the reason for their success. Another type of client would be somebody who purchases more than what you would expect. So, for example, you may have a regular client who you work with, but they actually want to spend extra money to get more value from you. Okay, so that's somebody who purchases more than you expect. And then there are other reasons why, and you can probably think of some of those as we go through these sort of exercises, and you can always come back to this particular page and add more reasons as you go. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how many reasons do you have written down so far?
Okay. Well, I have a few things written down.
Do you mind
I'm sitting here
sharing
trying to figure out the distinction between, just words like enthusiastic, loves the products. Good. Supportive. Good. Participates in groups.
Good.
Loves products.
Good.
So that kind of thing. Persistent, sticks with it.
Good. Those are all excellent.
These are all downline coaches that I have, though.
Yes, but that's
I don't
exactly
really know any of my customers.
Now, what you may want to consider is that one of the reasons why they're your favorites is that they signed up in your organization under you. They said yes to being a rep.
Right.
Okay, so let's think about this for a second. If you had 100 clients,
right,
and you have 2 of them who said that they want to be a representative for your organization under you, that's a great reason why you would like have them as a client, and you might want more of them. So you want to write that reason down. Now, what we're going to do with this list of whys is we're going to start to build a profile, which will then become what you would later possibly call your target market, but I'm going to call it something else. And by the time that we get there, it's going to make perfect sense. Okay, so you want to try to profile those customers and clients of yours in such a way that everything that's ideal about them, you've got written down as a reason why they're your favorite.
Okay.
So yeah, you want to definitely write down one reason why is because they said yes to being in your organization in your downline. Okay?
Yeah, definitely. Want lots more of those.
Okay, great. Yeah, absolutely. Next is going to be page 2, so you want to get a fresh page. You get the most referrals from these particular customers. So you want to write down 3 customers that you get the most referrals from. Now, somebody who is in your, somebody who is in your groups that you have, they're not actually like downline coaches, but they're people that talk about you, people who say great things about you.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have like 3 of those that you could think of that are like not in your downline? And they can be people from your first list, people who are not in your downline, but they refer people to you.
Wow. Well, I guess we can maybe see why I am completely lacking success in beach because I can't think of anybody.
No, it's okay. You don't have to worry about that. Now, what I want you to think about, though.
yeah.
is think about people who you know that have actually said, like, publicly on Facebook or whatever, oh, you should talk to Jim. Anybody like that. That's a referral. I mean, it's really not like, too difficult. I'm sure that there's been times, and this is the thing, you may not actually be tracking the referrals that you get and to say that the source of them was from referral. And that's okay. When you start to think about this in a different way, then it might become a little more apparent and you'll notice those things a bit more. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so even if you can't fill this out and come up with referrals, it's okay. And the reasons why, don't worry. Okay? It's really fine. Okay, now, page 3, let's go to page 3. I don't want to anticipate too much here. Go to page 3. Now, this particular page is completely optional, but I'm including it because I think that this is something that's vitally important. And I'm going to tell you a little story about why it is that I think that this is so important. So, as you know, Jim, one of the things that I do is I host websites for people. And I had a situation where one of my customers wasn't happy. Well, that's what she said. And what happened is that I offer this thing where I say, okay, you got 30 days guaranteed. If you like the site, you can get your money back if you don't. And then before the end of the 30 days was up, she said that she wanted her money back, even though she said she loved the site and she referred people to me. So I think that it had more to do with the finances, but here's the thing. She is somebody that I would put on this next list, which is my least satisfied customers. Now, I don't care to argue with her about whether or not she was satisfied or not. What I do know is that she asked for her money back. And it got me to think. And the reason why it got me to think is because I started to engage in the question, why is it that she was not satisfied? Okay? Now, I mean, I could, in one sense, I could really care less and just say next, right? But the truth is that somebody who's not satisfied is going to be 10 times louder than somebody who's satisfied. And somebody who's satisfied is going to be 3 times louder than somebody who merely is happy with your product. Okay, so because I engaged with the why of why she wasn't satisfied, I actually created an entirely new model for the way that I do business. Now, you're in an MLM, so it's not like you can completely change the way that you do business, but there are plenty of things that you can do on your own that are how you run your business that you can change. So what I came up with was, instead of charging money up front for websites and then giving people 30 days to tell me if they love the site or not, and if not, they can get their money back, I actually came up with something that nobody, and I do mean nobody, in my business does, and that is I'm now building websites for people before they pay a dime. That means that I'm spending between 8 and 24 hours of my time creating a website on the premise that I can make them love what I'm doing for them, and then they will be happy to pay for it. No refund involved whatsoever. So because I engaged in this question of why was my customer not satisfied, I came up with something entirely new, completely out of the box. So I think it's not only important to deal with why it is that customers are not, satisfied, but I think that it's the only thing that will differentiate you from your competitors. And as you know, there are a lot of people in your MLM, and you're competing with them. I mean, whether it's a team or not, you're competing with them. You need to find some way to differentiate yourself from others. So one way to do it is to start with who the people that you are working with are and why you like working with them, because they like working with you for the same reason, really. It's possible that there's a different reason, but you don't know what that is unless you ask. But that's a great place to start. And then start with why it is that people refer you, and then go to why it is that if you have any dissatisfied customers, why aren't they satisfied? It will give you reasons that will then become, like I said, more apparent why in a moment here.
So this is really just my perception of why they might be dissatisfied. Okay, so
Yes.
right.
And the reason why that's important is because it's your business.
I see.
You know, you don't want to be...
So some of the reasons... Oh, okay, go ahead.
You don't want to be hung up on pleasing people if this is your business. Do you get what I'm saying? You want to be satisfied with your business for your reasons. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you can't be satisfied with what you're doing for your reasons,
counterintuitive.
It is counterintuitive.
Sort of.
It is completely counterintuitive. As a matter of fact, the whole idea of creating a target market is something that was placed on entrepreneurs because they took business classes and they were thrust upon this thing of target marketing, but it is counterintuitive to being an entrepreneur. Instead of having a demographic that you are stuck with, instead you should be starting with, why do people want to do business with you? And so that's what we're doing. We're creating reasons why people want to do business with you.
Oh, my.
And believe me, once we get through this whole exercise, and by the way, I know that you have a background in psychology, so this, you know, there's probably certain ways that you could look at this, you know, but I'm looking at this like you're an entrepreneur, and what you want to be focused on is why you want to be in business. It's your why, which you've probably heard before, like, what is your why? But I want you to deal with why you like doing business with these people first, and then have them do business with you for the same reasons.
You mean why I want to do business with these particular people we've talked about?
Yeah.
Or why I want to do business with anybody to begin with?
No, let's start with the ones that you know for sure. Your experience.
Okay.
Your experience of working with these clients, why do you like working with them?
Okay. Right. Interesting. Okay. And that is, okay, now is that what we're putting on page 4 here?
What we're putting on page 4 is, yes, your reasons that are on page 1 and 2 that you identify with as like what you want your business to be about for you.
And okay, and so am I writing the reasons for?
Yes. On page 4, you're writing 3 reasons.
Why do I 3 reasons? Oh crap! Sorry. I'm writing why I want to do business with these people.
Well, at this point, you want to choose reasons from page 1 and 2 that you identify.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Okay. So you can see that it can get really funky if you don't write the reasons for a different purpose first. So you start with that first list of your reasons why you like working with these people, and then you're going to bring those reasons onto this page.
Okay.
So do you have your 3 reasons then? Yet?
Not yet, but I have an idea of getting there.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I mean, certainly, you know, one of the reasons why you probably want to have on here is that they're helping you build the organization, right? I mean, you like that, right? Whenever your business grows.
Yeah, growth is a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but seriously, I mean, I'm not being silly about it. It's like it's important for you to state to yourself what that reason is.
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah. You know, see, this whole thing is so foreign to me, and it makes me really upset and sad that I just don't know any of this, and that I haven't been taught any of this. In my primary job as a psychologist, you go to school for 8 zillion years, and then you hang up a sign to you, period. You don't even have to necessarily market yourself in a big way. I mean, you can, but this is just so different, you know. It's like people with problems look up a psychologist, and they come to you. So this idea of trying to find or create customers is all just very strange to me. So so I guess I appreciate what we're doing here, even though it's kind of new and weird to me.
No, that's fine. And I'm sure that in your business, if you come highly referred, that you're going to be more successful.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, it's the same principle.
Yeah, I mean, right.
And if you could choose
It
your
just feels
customer,
really different somehow.
well, yeah, I can understand. But if you could choose your customers based on the qualities that you look for, wouldn't you be happier?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, that's what we're doing. And I'm going to show you how to actually
so
capitalize on
people,
that.
right. Okay.
So let me know when you've got your 3 reasons.
Okay, I don't know if I'm on the right track or not, but I'm saying like people with common
I'm sorry, the audio got squashed. What was that?
interests, people who are supportive, people who are enthusiastic. Are these the things we're talking about?
Yes, those are great reasons. And they're important to you. That's the important thing.
Okay, good.
And, you know, the truth is that one of the reasons why could be because they may bring you a lot of money, you know? I mean, there's totally nothing wrong with having money as a value for your business. For some people, it's everything. And that's for some people that's important, for others it's not, and that's fine either way.
No, I don't. I just don't have those at present. I would like to get me some, but all the people that I have below me in the downline are friendly, nice, enthusiastic people who like to work out and all that. But not one of them. They're all like me. Not one of them has built, I guess, an organization. No one has even duplicated what I've done so far. You know?
Right. I understand that. And just so you know,
are gonna
I can tell
try
you
to
this
make money
from experience in working in the same MLM and also other MLMs too, that, you know, one of the things that you end up with is sort of a luck of the draw. You may have a new customer who, like, for example, my wife and I, you know,
Right.
we were interested in being coaches before we even did anything else. We were just looking to, you know, save some money, and, you know, if it didn't cost too much, we were happy to be in the MLM as a representative, and if we succeeded and had great results, then we would tell others about it. So, you know, our upline coach was very fortunate in the luck of the draw for that reason. But here's the thing, that we found that guy, that coach, only because of what I'm going to tell you about. So let's go ahead and finish this page here. So you got your 3 reasons, and then we'll go on to the next.
Okay.
All right, great. So page 5, what you're going to do is with these 3 reasons, you want to look into the future and see yourself helping people for those reasons that you chose, and then ask, is there one more that you should add? And this will be your final list of 4 reasons. 4 of your personal reasons for being in business.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just, pardon me for being dense here, but I'm just still exactly what I'm trying to put down here. I mean, I've taken these kind of characteristics of people, like enthusiasm and supportive and trying to better themselves and that kind of thing. Is that what I'm looking at? Is like, am I trying to write down a list of characteristics of people that I want to work with, be with?
No, let's start with your experience of working with these people now. So
Right.
if you like working with them because they're
Yes.
enthusiastic, great. That's one reason.
That's
If
a
you
reason.
like working with them because they're interested in, growth,
Okay.
for lack of a better word, right? Growth, then
Right.
that's a good reason, right? And you just want to put those reasons. You're kind of profiling who you think are your best customers based on the customers you have now.
Yeah, there you go. See, profiling. Used my kind of word there.
Well, I'm not a
Okay.
psychologist, so
Yeah, right. No, that's good.
but you got to remember, you're profiling yourself here. You're not necessarily profiling the people. You're profiling your experience of working with those people.
Okay. Wow. All right. All right. Okay. Well, one thing is definitely that I just really like, that I am always trying to better myself, and I like that quality in people who are always looking to develop as better individuals.
Awesome.
So that's one thing.
You are
That is
totally
one.
getting it.
That's
That's the kind of thing that you should be looking for here.
All right. All right. Let's go back and. Okay.
And listen, I'll add one that may be useful to you, and I'm just going to give an example, okay? Because there's a lot of people in the MLM and that sort of thing. What about people who, whenever you tell them, okay, this is what's coming up, they do it with, like you said, enthusiasm, but they do it in such a way that they're responsible and that they get results. You know what I mean? They don't like throw excuses at you. In some language ways, you would say that's like people who generate their own participation. And another way would be that somebody really owns what they're doing.
Oh.
Somebody who
right. That's outcome. Owning your business.
Yeah, people who not only do what it is that they're told, but they can take it to a new level. Like those are the kind of people that you really, I'm sorry, but I think you really enjoy those kinds of people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, are you kidding me? Yes, yes.
If you signed up somebody
it's the kind of person to be myself.
Yeah. But if you signed up somebody who exceeded you in rank, like if they became a diamond coach or a 2-star diamond or whatever, I mean, that's somebody who you give them a bat and a ball and they become Babe Ruth. There's a quality about people that are like that.
Yeah.
And don't, I mean, I don't know what you would call it, to be frank. I really don't. But like self-generative or, takes ownership. Whatever
initiative. Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever, however you want to describe that. And not everybody is in a service business, right? And in my business of what I do, because I'm also in the MLM and I understand how that works, but I'm also in like the website business, and I set up websites for people, and the people who I enjoy the most are the ones who are in partnership with me. It's almost like I'm their employee and they treat me like I am their, director of their department. You know what I mean? It's like there's a sort of partnership. That is one of the qualities that I enjoy in my clients.
Right.
That's one of my qualities that my reasons, like if you wanted to know what my 4 reasons are, one of them is partnership. Another one is people who are big referrers, like they say nice things about me. That is one of my 4 reasons that's on my list. Well, I have an ego, so I like it when people say things about me. I mean, that I'm not going to be dishonest about it. And the 2 other ones that are on my list are actually people who are entrepreneurial, because not everybody that I have as a
Right,
client
sure.
is really entrepreneurial. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this, is because I really want more of my clients to be entrepreneurs and not just business owners. You know, it's easy to buy a business license.
Hmm.
You know, it takes something different to be an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs have a dear place in my heart. You know, like that's what I wake up for, is entrepreneurial spirit in people.
Wow.
So, you know, that's one of my reasons. You know, and let me see if I can remember what the fourth reason is offhand, because I did this with my wife, and I also did this with myself, and it was kind of cursory. But you know, people who really like technology, like, you know, that if you follow me at all on Facebook, you know that I love technology. I mean, I used to be a techie person. I used to make 6 figures a year doing techie stuff for big corporations, and you know, so I love that kind of stuff, and I love it when I have customers who are you know, kind of like up on technology, and not everybody is. And I try to educate people by sharing things, and that's one of the reasons why I share things, is because I want people to pick up on how cool technology is.
Yeah, I understand.
So, do you have your 4 reasons?
Reasons that might need to be refined a little bit, but
Well,
yeah.
let's at least get your 4 reasons now, and then we'll go on to the next step, okay?
Okay.
You got 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you can always go back through this process.
Yes.
I mean, you may download your list of customers you've had over the past year, and you know, you may want to do this process over.
Right.
You may want to do this process every 6 months. I don't know. You know, it's really up to you.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So on to the next. Page 6. Okay, now page 6 is where we're going to make a grid. Okay, now this may not be that easy for you, but if you can see the screen here, there's a grid of 17 columns. The first column is going to be your names of the people that you've written down so far. So 1 through 10 of rows is going to be your 10 clients, and then the next 13 of them, is going to be your people that refer you. And then below that, if it's optional, you can put your list of 3 people that were your least satisfied customers. Now, there's a reason for this, but what you should just know for right now is that you probably only have 5 people in your list, and we're going to go through one column of those 5 names, and then we're going to add 16 more columns. And I know it's a lot, but I promise you this will be easy. Once you get started, you'll see that it's pretty easy. And then once we're done with that, then you'll see the madness behind this. So go ahead and write once you're done with that, go ahead and write your 5 names in your first column, and that's going to be your widest column. Okay, so just, you know, column of names. And then you're going to have headers on the other columns, and these are all unique letters. So I'm going to give you those letters that you could put at the top of each header, okay?
Okay, I got names on one, and then this is one of these letters in each column.
Yes, at the top. So at the very first row, it should say name.
Okay, right. So G.
The first column, and then G is the second column, and then M, as in Mary, is the third column. F, as in Frank.
Got it. Okay.
A, as in Adam. D, as in David. S, as in Sam. C, as in Carl. K, as in Kim. H, as in Henry. I, as in Iris. P, as in Paul. T, as in Tom.
Okay.
Okay, T, and the O as in Oscar. V, as in Victor. E, as in Edward. And then the number 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, now what you're basically looking for is any time that there's like 40% or better that is a match. Okay, so if you've got 5 names, then you're going to need at least 2 matches. If you've got 16, 17 names, you're going to need 7 matches. Does that make sense? All right, so let's go ahead
matches to
the column, yes. So let's go ahead and start with the first one, okay? And you'll see what I mean as we go. Ready?
All right.
Okay, so the first one is geography. Okay, so look at those 5 people and write a G if they have a common geography.
Okay. I'm not sure what you mean then.
Okay, so if you let's say that you're in Texas and all your clients are in New York, then you would put G and Y so that they're all, geographically New York.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, we're not looking for, I'm not just marking the ones who are actually in proximity with me. I'm just putting down their location.
You're looking
basically
for what they have in common.
Oh, what they have in common?
Yes, what they have in common.
What they have in common.
Yes, what they have in common, yes.
What they have in common is that they are all in different states.
Okay, so then they don't have that in common.
Excuse me. Right.
Okay.
They don't have it in common with me or with each other.
Right. And just you want to leave yourself out of
I mean, Lori's.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You're right, I'm not on the list, but I have one person in Colorado, one person in Texas, one person in Michigan, one person in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay, now
so they're all over the place.
If you don't have at least 2 people, that's 40%, then don't write anything. It's okay to leave it blank.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, great. All right, so the next one is M and F. You probably guessed that might be male and female. So if they're a M, put an M. If they're a F, put an F. Make sure you keep it within that column.
Uh-huh. Oh, right, I see. Uh-huh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, this is going to be interesting because, chances are that most of your clients, since you're a male, it could be a toss-up. Either they're male or female. But if you're a female, chances are your clients are going to be females. So if you've got...
That's just something you've discovered over time, or what?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's just... It just has to do with affinity. So, one of the things that we'll be talking about is affinity as a measure of value that we'll get to it. Okay?
Okay.
So the next one is A. So you want to write an A for each person who is in a similar age bracket. So, for example, if they're people that are in their 30s, then you write A30. If they're in their 40s, you write A40. So that way, you're breaking down by decade who has that decade in common. So, and most of the time, you're going to find that they're going to be in the same decade as you. Not to say that you can't have clients that are outside of that, but we'll get to that later. You don't want to think...
Yeah.
See the way that people traditionally think of target markets is who they want to reach. But the truth is that there's a different way to reach those people that people don't think about.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of mine are in my age group, actually. They're
Good.
all...
Good.
They're all over the... Well, none of them are in their 20s either, so we're looking at a 30s group and a 40s group, basically.
Good, yeah, and it's very likely, as a matter of fact, because most of Beachbody's customers in your MLM are people who are in their 30s and 40s, and that's, that's a match. Now, I've got one of my clients who is in her 60s or 70s, I forget which it is, and she has a lot of clients who are in her decade range, and, there's an affinity there. So, that's kind of how that works. Are you ready for the next?
Yeah.
Okay, now by the way, did you have at least 2 people in the same age bracket?
Yeah.
Oh, good. And was it A30 or A40?
Yeah. 2 in their 30s, 3 in their 40s.
Good. Okay, so you want to remember both of those,
yeah.
30s and 40s. That is what we're going to call your target market in front of you. Okay, next column is going to be, D, S, C, and K. So that's divorced, single, and the C is either for committed or married. So like if somebody is living with somebody, they're committed. If they're married, they're committed. If they're, a boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, they're committed, right? Which is, they're single and not committed. And then K is if they have kids.
Okay.
So let me know when you're done.
100.
Did you have
100% in both of those? Yeah.
For committed and kids?
All married, all with kids.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so the next one is H, and that is
Still
for
in here?
People who have hobby or the same activity or the same, maybe they have like an exercise that they have in common or competitions. So it's hobbies, activities, exercises, and competitions. So hobbies would be example like crafts, knitting or, decoupage or, whatever. Toys, there are some people who are like, they have train sets or doll sets or, whatever collectibles that they have. Astronomy is another example of a hobby.
So how would you code this on here in this?
Just an H.
How would you?
Yeah, if they.
How would you code this in this small space?
Well, if they have the same hobby, then you would.
Oh, just an H. Something. Okay.
You just put an H. Okay. And you'll know.
Oh,
you've only got 5 people, so you'll know if they have the same hobby.
You would think.
So we start with hobby, and then we go on to activities. So, for example, activities could be anything from like barbecuing, picnicking, and it could be politics. It can be religion. So, like people who go to go to a church, like if they're churchgoers, that's an activity. If they participate in politics, that's an activity. If they like to barbecue, if they like to picnic, if they like to do stuff like that, that's an activity. And then the next one is exercise. So, for example, hiking, biking, marathoning, those, tough, tough mudder, like those tough mudder kind of people,
Right.
That is an exercise, like a form of exercise. And then it might also fit into the last one, which is competition. So competitions are like, people who are competitive shooters, people who are competitive with their cars, people who are in some sort of competition that people in their age range participate in. It could be dancing, it could be, I don't know. Who knows what kind of competitions people are in. But if you happen to know, and it may be useful to ask your clients, where they fall. Maybe one of the things that I can come up with for my clients is like an interest form to see where they fall in this, sort of thing. I think I'll do that. As a matter of fact, I will do that for my customers. As in, I will send my customers to this form, and I will make that form available to them. After all, I am trying to teach my clients how to be aware of this sort of thing, and well, I should ask them. I mean, I kind of have an idea, but that's part of the problem. I think I have an idea. You know what I mean? Much different to actually be in the world of confirming things and knowing things than to just have an idea or think that you know something. Because truth is that we don't really know anything until we really have a way of verifying it. Okay, so are you ready for the next column?
Sure.
Okay, the next column is the I column, and that is income. So if, for example, these are people that make $60,000 a year, they would be I-60. They make, 6 figures, it could be I-6. So, you may not actually know what income range people are, and people certainly may not volunteer that sort of information to you, but this is very useful when it comes to profiling, for the word that we used, profiling, who your customers are and what they have in common. And there's a reason for that, which I will get to when we're done. But for right now, you want to just focus on what is that income level.
I'm totally guessing on some of them.
That's fine. That's totally fine. You don't have to know.
Yeah.
Because we're actually basing this off of your experience. Now, your experience may actually be wrong. You don't know.
Right.
The next one is P, and that is people who are in the same line of work, a profession or trade. And so you put a P, and then, for example, if they were all homemakers, then you put PH. If they were all lawyers, you put PL.
Well, they're kind of all 5 different things, so do you just not put anything?
If they don't have it in common, then you don't write it.
Yeah, no, they're all completely different.
That's fine. Now, keep in mind that people who are watching this video, who knows what kind of business they're in? We don't know. But this process works for everybody whenever you complete it. Okay, so next is education, alumni, degrees, trainings, and certifications. So this is under T. So you write a T for those who have the same education, training, alumni, degree, certifications. So this is under training, T for training. So for example, if you had Harvard-educated clients, then it would be TH. If you had people who have certifications in certain technologies, it would be TT. People who are students would be TS.
Well, I don't know. That's a tricky one. One with no college, one with a master's degree, one is a dental hygienist. The other one specializes in sleep studies.
Okay. So now what you may
the other one is a homemaker.
Consider is that you have people who are TC, which is they have something in common, and that's college. You probably have at least 2 there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
all right.
Next is O, which is for people who belong to the same club, fraternity, cause, organization, or nonprofits. So, for example, as far as a club goes, maybe these are people, and keep in mind that it'd be different if all of your clients were like in your same town, right? Same club, like the Elks, Moose, the same fraternity from college. Maybe they're active in the same cause, like for example on Facebook. You know who the animal rescue types are, right? Because they're usually sharing about things that are animal rescue oriented because they're very passionate about it, and rightfully so. God bless them.
Boy. Yeah.
And organizations like Alcoholics Anonymous, maybe Chamber of Commerce, and then nonprofits, whether it's Red Cross, likely Give Blood, or Boys and Girls Club. So anybody who is involved with those sorts of organizations, whether it's a club, it's a fraternity, same cause, nonprofit.
I don't know of any overlap in that category.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
If there isn't a clear commonality, don't worry. And if you're working with 5 people, you got to have at least 2. So if it's not clear, then don't worry. The next one is veterans. So you want to write a V if they're a veteran. And if you happen to have people that are veterans of the same branch of service, then you want to denote that. So like VA for veterans of the Army, VM for veterans of the Marines, that sort of thing.
Yeah, nothing there.
Okay, that's fine. And the next one is, we're on E, and then column 2 is next. E is for ethnicity, ancestry, and citizenship. So you want to write an E next to those with the same commonality of those. And and the reason for this is that we're starting to get at the end here the kind of products that people are really interested in based on their ethnicity, ancestry, and citizenship. So if you sell piñatas, then you want to know what your clients have in common, so that you know who that you want to pay attention to. And if you sell Vegemite, then obviously not the same people who buy piñatas.
Mm-hmm. I do have one Vegemite person on here, but
Great.
but she lives in Chicago now, so.
Okay, and if you didn't have another Vegemite person, then forget it.
Right. This is just basically all 30-something white folks.
Yeah, and that may be exactly what it is that you end up with as far as a profile goes, and that's fine.
Right.
Fine.
Right.
Okay. The last one is secondary target markets. Okay, so now you want to write a 2 next to the ones who belong to a secondary market. Now, what I mean by that is people who, because they buy something, they also buy something else. So, for example, if they have kids, they need diapers. So if they're in one group, because of a reason, there's going to be another thing that they need. And it's probably not something that you sell currently or provide currently, but it's valuable to know. So like, for example, my clients are like people who have websites, right? A secondary market for me would be people who need antivirus software, because everybody's got a computer. If they have a website, they've got to have a computer, and they need antivirus software. So it would be useful for me to pay attention to that when I go into the final step of this. So people who buy workout programs also need things like workout clothing. They also need their nutritional needs to be met. They also need things like weight scales for their food. So there's plenty of things, if your business is fitness, plenty of things that are useful. So for example, a cookbook of clean, recipes, something like that, that can be really useful.
So what do I write there, just a 2?
Write a 2 if they're in a secondary market. So like if they buy one thing, if they all have something in common where they buy the same thing, that there's something else that they will also buy. And the truth is, you want to know this so that you can be a resource for that second thing.
Even if you don't supply it yourself necessarily?
Right. Even if you just share about it with them.
Right.
That's enough.
Right, okay. Right.
Being a resource just means that you're providing something. Doesn't necessarily mean you're selling it.
Right. That you're not just trying to sell them something, you're offering them information
You're just being
that
a
will
resource.
help them for no obvious benefit for yourself.
Right.
Exactly.
See, the thing is that when you become a resource for people, they listen to you like you are good at recommending things. You know something. So it opens up a lot of ways of being more valuable to if you can anticipate what their needs are, you're a better service provider.
Got it.
Okay, so next, what we're going to do is we're going to count it all up, and you're going to see how many times you have 2 or more things that people have in common.
Explain that a little more.
Okay, so if you have 2 G's in the G column, maybe what you want to do is just circle the G. If you have, M's and F's, at least 2 M's and at least 2 F's, then you want to circle the M and circle the F. Now, what that will basically mean is that your target market is males and females, as opposed to just males or just females.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so then circle and indicate somehow the columns where you have 2 or more things in common. And you can see that doing your entire list would be really useful.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, time consuming, but you would certainly come up with a profile.
No, you know what?
I think.
You know what? The truth is that I've been thinking lately about what is a great example of somebody with an entrepreneurial spirit. And I'll tell you what I have come up with, I think is the best example that I can think of. Let's say that you own a circus and you go from town to town. You cannot afford to open up the tent and have nobody come. True?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have that kind of attitude towards your business if you really want to do well. So whenever I say it'd be really useful to do this with all your clients, I mean, think of the kind of attitude that you would have to have if you owned a circus and you were coming to town and people don't know who you are.
Right.
They've never heard of you before. They know nothing. But you're coming to town and you're going to throw the doors open and you need a full house. So you want to think about that kind of attitude that you need.
Right.
Okay. Let's take a look at an example profile here. I sort of did this, with my wife, and I kind of, added a little bit, but it was people who are, we're not from New York, but, I went ahead and put this. New York females who are in their 30s and 40s, they're married, have kids, and they do TurboFire. Yes, there is a secondary market, and by providing resources to those customers who do TurboFire for cool clothes, nutrition, things like free weights, you can sustain those customers better. Okay, so knowing who your customers are and having an idea of what else they need besides what you provide creates a relationship with them that you can not only sustain, but that you can grow. So that is an example of what you would call a target market. Yeah, so if you add that all up, you basically have a profile, for lack of a better word, of who your clients currently are, not some pie in the sky, I only want millionaires as my clients, thing of like, my target market is just something I'm going to invent, and then if I get there, I'll have hit my target. People wonder why there's only 5% of businesses actually survive year in and year out, right? If you ask me, it's because most of them are entrepreneurs, and most of them believe that there's this target market. And then when they don't hit it, they close their doors. So what this actually means is that you have not a target market, but your ambassadors of your business. You've got people who like working with you. You provide something for them. They are happy to talk about the results they get with you. You know who they are, and you know what they want. They're your ambassadors. When you start thinking of them as your ambassadors, then you realize that it's not like you need to go outside of your target to get your customers. You just need to stick with what works now and expand from there instead of thinking that you need to expand first. You just focus on what you've got instead of what you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Okay, well, tell me what you think of that.
Well, I think I have to come up with some way of getting to know just who these customers are. These, say for instance, the 600 names in my Beachbody office. There's a certain number of those people who reorder stuff again and again. I don't really know them at all. I've tried to contact them, like by email, sometimes by phone. Never have gotten much response from that. So I really don't know anything about them. But it seems like it would behoove me to learn some of these things about those people.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to point out that that's kind of a mistake. Okay. Now, I can certainly understand why you would have the instinct to think, oh my gosh, I've got so many people who have bought from me and I don't know anything about them. I better go get to know them, right? That's not the case.
Right.
What you want to do is you want to focus on the ones who you do know, because they're your ambassadors.
Okay.
When you provide what it is that they need, they are going to say good things about you. Your business, I don't want to say can only grow by word of mouth, okay, because it's not true. You can do a lot of things where you can advertise, and people will get to know you through other means, okay? But those things are purely a matter of testing and not a matter of knowing. You know who your customers are. You know what they want. You know who they are when you see them. So what this means is that you've got a known quantity that you can work with. Continue to work with and develop your relationships with them, because that means they will refer you. No amount of direct marketing will ever be as useful as people who say good things about you. And as a matter of fact, this was something that was proven, I think, 4 years ago. There is this trust meter that the Nielsen folks did, and they asked, what do you trust? So they asked, do you trust TV commercials? Do you trust radio advertisements? You know, do you trust, you know, internet marketing ads? What do you trust most? But do you want to know what the most trusted thing was? What they called content. In other words, sharing stories or pictures or whatever of things that they like. They trust their friends when their friends talk about something. And you know that this is true because if you've got a friend in town who says, oh my gosh, I just went to this new restaurant that just opened up. Do you trust that 86% or 5%? People trust word of mouth far more many times than anything else.
Right.
And that's why your ambassadors are what you want to focus on, and you want to forget this idea that you need to have a target market, because target market is marketing school jargon for businesses that are much, much bigger than you probably ever want to be. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to stick with what works. You need to learn what works, you need to learn why it's working, and you need to keep doing it. That is the only thing that will grow a small business. Sure, there's like, you know, advertising and stuff, like I said, but really, word of mouth, you know, I'll give you an example. In this tiny town that my wife and I live in, there was this barbecue place, you know, we go by it like all the time. And this place, you know, changed hands. The new owners put up a barbecue place. Okay, so it's like this particular location was known as being like a good barbecue place, and they had great barbecue. We had it, you know, once. It was really good, and the place was like always full. And then somebody came along and figured, oh, I need to buy that business, get that location, put in my own barbecue, and I'm going to do just as good or better. You know what? They just closed their doors. Why? Because word of mouth killed them. The word on the street is that their food wasn't very good. It killed them, and it only took like 4 months.
Wow.
But you know that this is true, right? This isn't some theoretical marketing degree idea. You know, it's real world truth. There's nothing theoretical about it. You know who your customers are. You know for your own experience why you like working with them. You know what they want. You know enough about them to make them your ambassadors, because they are your ambassadors. They are the ones that will make or break your business, literally. So focus on them. That's the whole point of this entire exercise, is you know who to focus on. You need to enrich your relationships with those people, and they will refer you more. That's the whole point of having a target market, is to get new customers. So guess what? Focus on the ones that you have, make them your ambassadors. Ask them to refer people to you. Ask them. If they like you enough, they will do it.
Right.
You can't buy that kind of advertising.
Mm-hmm. Right. Huh.
So did you find this valuable?
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, but
good. You can watch the video and
a little time.
Rewind it.
Yeah.
Watch it again. Okay. Now.
Yeah, wrap my head around it.
Yes. Now, I do have a list of exploration questions. These are kind of obvious, but I wanted to include them. So here's some things that you can ask people. How did they find out about you? Why did they choose you and not somebody else? Why do they continue to buy from you? What are you not doing for them that you could be doing? Where can you go right for them instead of going wrong? You know how you could go wrong, right? That's, obviously there's ways that you could fail in your business. But if you can ask them the question, how can you go right? How can you actually do the opposite of go wrong? You might get some very interesting questions, like how could I do right by you that I'm not? Mm-hmm. And I don't know how else to ask that. Maybe I'll come up with a really clever way of saying it someday. But the idea is, how can you provide something that isn't being provided now? They're your ambassadors. You want to find some way to increase the value that you already have.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, that kind of sound. Okay, yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so
yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Oh, I'm sure I have lots of questions. But,
well, you can always reach me through Facebook. And if you are somebody who saw this video because of somebody else, I can be reached at electronicwordofmouth.com, where you can fill out my contact form and ask me whatever questions you like.
Well, it's a whole nother way of looking at it, and I've always had trouble with the whole idea of target marketing. It's like, oh well, I want everybody to buy, I want 20-year-olds to 60-year-olds to exercise and buy Beachbody products and come to me and get in MLMs, and everybody was like, well, that's too broad. You need to focus in on somebody. And like, well, how do you do that? So this helps with how do you do that, I think.